listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again today. Man, we have another amazing show lineup for y'all today. We are going to talk to our special guest, Bryan Clayton. He is a serial entrepreneur and also the CEO of GreenPal. You got to check out this amazing business. It's a great website you need to go check out right now. It's yourgreenpal.com. We're going to have Bryan tell us all about his business, how he got started. And first and foremost, Bryan, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Man, appreciate your time, man. I know you're busy. I mean, just looking at your website and how it's built and all these different things you can look at and search for. First and foremost, tell us how you started this brand and the people that you're serving.
Yeah, so I'm CEO and co-founder of a company called GreenPal. GreenPal is an app, a website that works kind of like Instacart or DoorDash or Uber, but for lawn care services. So if you're a homeowner and you're needing to get a lawn mowing service to come mow the yard for you, you can just download GreenPal. You pop your address in and somebody comes out and does it for you. And GreenPal is a 10-year overnight success. My two co-founders and I have been at this for a little over a decade. But now anywhere in the country, if you live in a town with over 10 or 15,000 people, you can use GreenPal to get your lawn mowed. And if you're a contractor in the lawn mowing business, you can use it to grow your lawn care business. And we now have around 300,000 people using the app, but started off just in Nashville, Tennessee, really humbly, little by little grew it to where it is today and kind of got to where we are by not giving up.
You also are not a stranger to success. I kind of mentioned that in the opening. You were also the founder of Peachtree Incorporated, and that was a company that you grew over millions in revenue. So what was the jump that made you ready to make your new venture with GreenPal?
Yeah, so my first business was a landscaping business. I started mowing grass in high school as a way to make extra cash and stuck with that little lawn mowing business, little by little growing it to over 150 employees. Took about 10, 15 years to do that, but ended up getting it over $10 million a year in revenue, and it caught the eye of a national company in the landscaping business. You wouldn't think there's like big national landscaping companies, but there are a handful. And one of them decided they wanted to buy it. And so after they bought it, I took some time off, and I really didn't think about starting another business, but I became, I guess, unfulfilled in life. I needed another mission. I needed another project. I needed another reason to get out of bed in the morning. And so I had the idea for GreenPal. I thought somebody is going to build an app that works like Uber, but for lawn mowing. Why can't it be me? And started learning how to code, recruited two co-founders, and we started working on the idea, and took us a year or two to get the first version working right. But after that, we just started making little small goals and growing the business little by little, year over year.
Speaking of small goals, when you first started out, I mean, I can only imagine this kind of service is solely dependent on timely service and quality service. So when it came to attracting your first 1,000 users, what was your strategy to keep quality up, but also make customers happy?
It's a really good point. So in the early days, I had just built and sold my landscaping company. So I had this kind of contractor mindset. I was viewing the whole thing from a contractor's perspective. And so I thought when we started GreenPal, we would be in the business of delivering the cheapest lawn care service you could hire. Because it's a competitive bidding system. You get 5 quotes as a homeowner, and you can pick whichever one you want to work with. And if you want to pick the cheapest one, you can. And what I became to understand after talking with my first 20, 30, 40, 50 customers was that actually what they cared about the most was speed and reliability. They wanted somebody to show up today to mow the yard, and they wanted them to do a good job. And if the price, so long as it was kind of in the market rate, didn't matter so much. And so that was an example of talking to my early customers, letting them kind of guide my decision-making, almost like free R&D. And had I not done that, I would have spent a decade on trying to build the cheapest lawn care service rather than trying to build one that happens fast, smooth, quick, and seamless. And so it was in the early days, it was very much hand-to-hand combat. We went out and inspected the yards after they were mowed personally. We personally interviewed with every contractor that used the platform and personally spoke to customers. And little by little, we were able to scale that with a system and a process that kind of handles it on the fly now. But we wouldn't have ever known what to build had we not done it by hand in the early days.
And when you are vetting people who can provide this service on your app, what does that kind of look like? And is that a option that is available for someone who might listen to this episode and say, hey, I provide these services as well. How can I get vetted?
Yeah, totally. That's why we do what we do. We really are in the business of offering a nice convenience to consumers, to homeowners. They can push a button and get this chore done. But really why I get out of bed in the morning is to help small business owners in this industry grow their business and run their business with less headache. Because that was really my life for 15 years. The life of a lawn care service operator is tough. You're working 12, 13 hours a day, and then you're doing bookkeeping all night. And then you don't get paid for half the work you do because you forgot to bill them or your customer just flat out just didn't pay you. And so solving all those problems and helping lawn care services make more money with less headache and kind of get where they're trying to go, whether it be paying off student loan debt or paying off medical debt or buying a new lawnmower or hiring an employee. It's really why we do what we do. And so we built the whole system to help those folks out and understand, okay, these are the minimum requirements you're going to need to use the system. So you have to have the commercial equipment. You have to have a few customers that you can put onto the platform to recommend you. And then we interview you. And if all that goes well, then we let you onto the platform. And then that's kind of the start of it. Because after that, we rigorously measure them. We measure them on how often do they show up on time? How often do they get good reviews versus bad reviews? How often do they get booked for a second or third visit? That's a really strong indicator for us in terms of the quality of the service. If people like the service they hired, they're going to set them up for the whole season. If they didn't like them, they're never going to use them again. So we use all of this data to understand, okay, these are the reliable lawn care services you can hire, and these are the ones that aren't so good. And we promote the good ones and demote the bad ones, and that's how we offer a nice experience for consumers.
We're talking to Bryan Clayton here on Refocus Radio. He's the CEO of GreenPal. You can go to the website, yourgreenpal.com. One thing that's very impressive when you first take a look at the website is all the different locations. So if you're living in a specific location, there's a very good chance that you're going to find someone that you can hire. So from the customer's point of view, what does it look like to a new customer who goes to your website? How do they get everything started with their profile or account?
Yeah. So normally, if you want to get something like this done, you have to basically call around town, get estimates, and hire somebody and haggle over the price and hope they show up. And with GreenPal, all of that's just handled. You come onto the website or you download the app, you pop your address in and your email address, and that's it. We take care of the rest. So that then gets sent out to a handful of contractors nearby you. And then they look at, okay, this property is 15,000 square feet. They want it done every week. It's been 3 weeks since the last time they mowed it. And it's going to be $45. And then another contractor might look at it and say, I have 5 on that street already, so I can do it for $37. And so you'll get 5 prices back in what we shoot to deliver in less than 60 seconds. So if you're in a major metropolitan area, like if we're really big in Nashville, Tampa, Atlanta, Chicago, if you're in any big city, you'll get 5 prices back in less than 60 seconds. And then you can hire the one you want to work with. And then you put your credit card number in, and then after they come out and mow it, you'll get a picture of the lawn after it's mowed. And that's kind of your proof of work. And we know that it was taken at your property at a specific time, and that it's a picture of the freshly mowed yard. We're able to determine all of that with AI. And so that's proof of work. And then if everything looked good, you can just push to pay them. And if you like their service, you can push another button and set it up for the whole season. And it just happens like magic in the background. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
When it comes to businesses, so if it's not a homeowner, there's an actual business in the area that needs to contract a company out with your website, how would they go approach that? Is it different or is it the same?
Yes, it's the exact same way. So the primary use case for the platform is residential, but we do have some business owners that use it as well. Most of the time, businesses try to opt for like a contract, that they want to sign a contract, like a 12-month contract. Some business owners don't like that, and so they like our platform better. They just want to pay per service. And so we offer that to them, but it's less than 5% of the overall activity. Around 300,000 people are using the app to get lawn mowing done, and the vast majority of them are homeowners.
This seems like it's a very fast paced, moving quickly in the office. So when managing your team and motivating them to keep up the quality support with this customer service, what's your strategy to have a healthy environment in your office?
Yeah, it definitely is fast paced. That's one of the cool things about running a tech company, is that I kind of have ADHD, so it's like there's never a dull moment. It's like there's always something that's going on, and the activity on the platform is no different. What we try to do is, if a consumer emails in or calls in or chats with us on our chat, live chat in the app, we try to figure out what went wrong and how we can solve that at the origin. And so we don't want to be in the business of solving the same problems over and over and again every day. So we're always using customer support and customer feedback as like research and development to figure out, okay, we've had 10 people email in today about the contractor left the fence unlocked and their dog got out. And even though we did 5,000 transactions today, we've had this happen 10 times. So we have to build something to prevent that from reoccurring again. And we've just been doing that over and over again for a decade now, to where we've eliminated the 1,000 things that can go wrong between hiring a lawn care service and them doing a great job, to prevent those negative outcomes from happening. And that's how we handle it. And whenever there is a problem, we don't let it fester longer than about 5 or 10 minutes, and we deal with it, figure out what went wrong, and then we make a plan to fix it at the root cause.
Since your location is all over the United States, as far as where people can choose service to be served at, how have you used the data in the company? I noticed you talked about how you can see trends or patterns with any issues with, someone leaving the gate open or anything like that. But when it comes to data, how are you using data to measure how trends or patterns are happening throughout the country?
Yeah, it's data. It's like either we're going to make a decision based on opinions. And if we're going to do opinions, let's just use my opinion, or we're going to make it based on data. And you really always want to try to let the data speak. You want to let the data make the decision. So here's the problem. Here's the problem we're trying to solve. Here's our two approaches at it. Let's test each approach, and let's let the data make the decision. And we can do that now because we have thousands of people using it at any given time, and we can test these things out, and we can use data by people's use of the platform or not use of it. If they quit using it, that's a data point to figure out what are we doing wrong and how do we need to solve it. But what's more important is in the early days, when you don't have 1,000 people using it, you might think, well, I don't need data. I don't have data. Well, data at that point is just conversations with customers. It's like, I have 10 customers. You need to talk to all 10 of them every week. And you need to accumulate that data. It's qualitative data. It's what people are telling you, but it's still data. And you need to carry that all the way through the journey of letting the data speak and shifting that qualitative data to quantitative data. This is that the numbers are saying, but it's always data. It's just at different types and different scale. And I always am like terrified I'm going to make the wrong decision. So I always try to lean on what the data is saying and just let the data make the decision.
The great thing I'm thinking is, it's probably a great thing you're not doing a whole lot of the supplying for the actual service for the lawnmowers, because I couldn't imagine how you'd be able to manage all of that equipment.
Ooh, man. Well, I'll tell you, I had a landscaping company with at 90 trucks and around 200 lawnmowers, and that was as big as I'd ever want to do a business like that. So thank God. No, it's kind of like Uber doesn't own any cars. We're the same way with lawn care.
And that's a smart business model. When you built this, were you shocked that it grew this massive? And if not, what was your focus when you started the company as far as the vision where you want to take it?
Well, I saw this problem kind of manifest itself in running my traditional landscaping business every day, because people would still call my office every day wanting us to come mow their yard for them. But my landscaping company no longer did residential services. We only did office parks, restaurants, banks, things like that. So we would always have to say, no, we can't do it. But here's 4 or 5 phone numbers of some smaller lawn care services that want to do it for you. So in effect, we were kind of this connector service. We were referring this business out and helping people that way. And so I knew that the problem existed. I knew that I was fairly confident somebody was going to build a platform to solve it. And so I was not surprised that it ultimately didn't work. I was surprised that it didn't work faster. There was a lot of roadblocks that I didn't anticipate. One is, we were inventing a new product from scratch that did not exist. So nobody knew to use it. Nobody knew how to use it. Nobody knew that it existed. And that's really hard to overcome. And what you realize is that as a first-time founder, you worry about the product, the business, the service. But as a second-time founder, all you worry about is the distribution and the marketing and getting it in the hands of people that need it, because that's the harder piece of the equation to solve. And that caught me by surprise. I thought that part would be easier. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and one of the parallels I make is, we're home of country music, and we get 100 people move here a day wanting to be the next big thing in country music. And what they realize is like, it's hard to become a singer-songwriter. It's hard to cut an album. It's hard to write a song. It's hard to do it's hard to get a record deal. All of these things are really hard. But then you do all that, and then you realize it's 100 times harder just to get somebody to show up at a show. It's 100 times harder to get 100 people to show up at your concert. And so that's what starting a new company like this is. It's like building it is really hard, but it's 10 times harder just to get 100 people to try it out.
Question from the consumer's perspective. Say someone's going on vacation. I mean, sometimes people need their lawn cut. So how does that process work, and does it even make a difference?
Yeah, totally. That's what it's built for. So if you're a consumer and you need to get somebody to come mow your yard while you're out of town, you just put your address in. The providers nearby you will see that. They'll see, okay, this guy's going to be out of town for a couple of weeks. He needs it done 2 times, and they will submit the quote accordingly. So it takes out a lot of the headache of getting that exact kind of chore done.
That's so smart, man. Wow. No wonder it's so massive. When you look at the feedback that customers have been able to give, how easy is it for them to contact support to give feedback? And also part 2 of that question is, what has been some of the similar thoughts from your reviews?
Yeah, it's customer feedback. A lot of times founders will look at it as though it's like a cost center, or it's like an obligation. But we always have looked at customer feedback as free R&D. It's the thing that clarifies what we're doing and what we're working on and what's a priority and what's not. So we always put that front center. We make it very frictionless for somebody to tell us when they're upset or when we let them down or when they're happy. And so anything from live chat in the app, 1-800 phone number, or the email is monitored 24/7. And even to this day, even though we've achieved some scale and we have thousands of people using it every day, I still do at least 1 hour a day of customer support, because I don't want there to be a gap to develop between my thinking and my logic and the customer's thinking. And if you don't speak to your customers, there's a weird gap that forms to where eventually, like, you as the founder, you're speaking a totally different language than your customers are speaking, and you're looking at the problems from 2 different perspectives. And so I try to close that with doing an hour of customer support a day at least. And I'm always humbled with somebody will say, hey, I called 5 other lawn care services and nobody would show up, and I was facing a fine from the city for $300 if I didn't get it done by Friday, and you guys were able to help me find somebody. Or somebody saying, hey, I was able to grow my lawn mowing business and get 20 new customers in a month, and that helped me put down a down payment on a riding mower, so I don't have to push mow all day anymore. So helping people accomplish what they're trying to do and get where they're trying to go in life is a lot of fun. And you catch that when you're doing your own support.
We're talking to Bryan Clayton. You can go to his website, yourgreenpal.com. Another question from the consumer perspective for our listeners. If someone wanted to change the people that cut their lawn, how easy is that?
Yeah, it doesn't always work out. You get somebody and it's not a good fit. And so we know that. Heck, I know that from running my own landscaping business the first time around. Some customers weren't a good fit for my business and vice versa. So we make it easy for you to do that. You can just push a button and discontinue service with that contractor and get another round of quotes and hire somebody else. So we have built it for that. And as time goes on, and you do more transactions on the system, we give you additional rounds of quotes to use for free. Because every time you ping the system, it costs us some money because we have to send out some text messages to all of our contractors. But as you use the system more, you get more free quotes to use to try different people out.
So it is smart once you find the perfect match to stay with them as long as you can.
Yeah, really it is, because once you have somebody who's doing a good job for you, you like them, they like you, it's a good fit. It's our job to power that relationship for as long as you own your home. It doesn't make any sense to bounce around because every yard is different and it takes a couple mowings to kind of get familiarized with all the nuances of the lawn. So you really want to stick with one contractor if they're doing a good job of showing up for you.
When it comes to locations and where you guys are, do you see yourself expanding to even more locations, or are you in a sweet spot right now where it's just working pretty good?
The good thing about our business is it seems small, but it's really big. So you wouldn't think it, but lawn care is a $99 billion industry, almost $100 billion industry in this country. And we're doing around $30 million a year in sales. So we got a long way to go. And we've got around 300,000 people using it. And we want to get to 1 million people using it. And the weird thing about a marketplace like this is that some cities will just explode and some cities will never take off. And so, for example, we do twice as many transactions in a town like Knoxville, Tennessee, than we do in a Seattle, Washington. And so trying to figure that out. Why hasn't Seattle taken off? And why is this small town in Tennessee taken off? And so balancing suppliers and consumers and getting that critical mass of people and getting that flywheel to spin is what we are focusing on now. So we've put the platform in every city. Now we got to figure out how do we make it hum faster in every city.
Well, get ready, man. I'm from Texas, so you might be getting a lot of calls in Texas after this show.
Right on.
When you see how this brand of yours, you are the bridge between consumers who need their lawn cut and lawn. How you say lawn professional cutters?
Yeah, you can call them lawn pros. That's what we call them.
So you're the bridge between the consumer and the lawn pros. I mean, looking back, what makes you so excited about what can possibly be done in the future? Because I don't think this is ever going to slow down.
It really is kind of day one. Even though we're 10 years in, it still feels like day one. We're kind of where food delivery was in 2010 with where home services is today. So in 2010, if you wanted to order some Chinese food, you would probably still call the restaurant and you would call them over the phone and you would give them your credit card number over the phone, and maybe they delivered, maybe they didn't. And it was still very much of a manual process. Fast forward 13 years later, to order Chinese food, you would just go to DoorDash or Uber Eats and just push a button and you would get it delivered. Well, that's kind of where home services is and lawn care services is today in terms of people thinking about getting it done. They still do it the old way. They still call around. They still leave voicemails. And then when that doesn't work out, they'll use a solution like GreenPal. And so it really is the beginning. It's minute one of day one of you can get everything done with your smartphone. It is the remote control for your life. And everything you need done around the house, you'll just push a button on your phone and get it done that way.
And with you being a tech company, if you see massive growth anytime in the future. Do you have a way where people will know if there are any open roles available for them to apply for?
Yeah, we have a jobs board on our platform, and we're always looking for contractors. Some cities we're full, but most cities we're taking on new contractors to use the platform. So anybody that wants to try to get into the lawn business or is in the lawn business, they can just go to greenpal.com and scroll to the bottom and click to apply. Or anybody that wants to look at the jobs that we have, they can go to our jobs page.
Perfect. We've been talking to our guest today on Refocus Radio, Bryan Clayton. Go to his website, yourgreenpal.com. He is the CEO of GreenPal. Once again, Bryan, I want to say thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.